What's up, everybody? Welcome to the All in All podcast, where we talk about everything from sports to the last book you read. I am Mikey Gator, aka Good Brother, aka Lord Joker.
Hey, I'm Jamuel, aka Jammy, aka Cobra, aka the Cat Whisperer.
Alright, so today we're going to talk about some different topics than we have in the past. We're going to talk a little NBA draft, talk a little NFL, and maybe dive into some video game action. So, let's get started here with the NBA draft. I guess, Jemmy, what do you think of the NBA draft?
It was unexpected in a lot of ways. Like, with the picks and all, they were pretty out of left field. But some, of course, were givens. But just in general, it wasn't a huge strength in the draft class this year. But there's a lot of gems in there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were definitely shocked by the Knicks pick. We'll go over the first 5 picks real quick. We won't cover the whole draft. We'll go over the first 5 picks, and then we'll talk a little bit about a couple of our favorite teams, and we'll dive deeper into them. So to start the draft, it wasn't really a surprise. You got Phoenix picking first. And if you watch NBA on TNT, you know that Charles Barkley, with his Phoenix Suns segments, he could go either way with Phoenix, and he called the GM before the draft, and what did he say?
So don't fuck it up.
Basically said, don't fuck it up, and you know what to do. Here we go. So they come out of the gate and draft what I believe everybody thought they were going to draft.
Yep.
They draft the kid from Arizona, the center, DeAndre Ayton, who was no surprise. Everybody thought he was going to go first. Had an okay college career, I guess you could say. They had a lot of problems down at Arizona, but that's a whole other story. We'll see if they can rebound from that. But then with the number 2 pick, we got Marvin Bagley from Duke. And then at 3 is where our first trade comes in, where the Hawks and the Mavs kind of swap picks here. The Mavs gave them I believe a 2019 future first-round pick. And basically all you need to know is that the Mavericks got Luka Doncic and the Hawks get Trae Young.
Interesting.
So we watch a little college basketball. We watch a lot of college basketball, actually. Trae Young. What'd you think, real quick, of Trae Young in college?
He's a good scorer. He could shoot the lights out. He could shoot anywhere. He was insane towards the beginning of the year, and then towards the end, he kind of flattened out.
Yeah,
But he's a very good shooter, very good passer. He needs to help. He needs to work a little bit on his defense, but otherwise, he's pretty good. We'll see how he does. I think he should have stayed in college, but
yeah, I do also.
And work on that craft. But that's a lot of players are doing 1 year and out. So
yeah, one and dones.
Yep.
So that's the 3 and the 5 pick. In the middle there is Memphis with the number 4 pick. They draft Jaren Jackson, a freshman out of Michigan State. I don't even think he was the best player in the draft for Michigan State. But the Grizzlies, they always have decent players. I don't really think he's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate, but I'm sure he'll help the team in some way.
True.
Those are the first 5 picks, and then what we'll do now is we'll dive into our local team from the NBA here with the number 6 pick was the Orlando Magic.
Yes. Magic finished last year with a 25 win and 57 loss record, which got him in the lottery pick number 6.
Yeah.
So they ended up with Mohamed Bamba,
Yay.
center out of Texas University. Actually, it's we were talking about this during the draft. That's probably a great pick for the Magic, and a great pickup. Seeing what they had, going into the later picks. But with what was it, 7 foot wingspan,
yeah,
insane.
His wingspan is crazy, and between him and Isaac,
yeah, I think they'll be great. He wants he wants to quickly contribute, which is awesome, and I think he will. As long as he stays healthy. I mean, that was their problem last year with their draft pick last year with Isaac from Florida State. He was awesome. He was good
when he played. Yeah.
When he played. So just keep them healthy. I think Magic will be fine.
Do you think now they got a lot of roster changes possibly that could come up with a few free agents? Is Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba enough to make them a playoff team? I mean, the East.
I don't think it'll make them a playoff team, but they will do better. I think they'll win more than 25 than they did last year.
Yeah.
Their other two picks, pick 35 was Melvin Frazier, small forward out of Tulane, and their last first round pick, pick 41, Jared Vanderbilt, small forward out of Kentucky also. So I think they were going for a height in this draft, which was fine. Some shooting, which was fine. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think they'll make it to the playoffs, but they will definitely improve.
Will they miss Alfred Payton at all?
I think they'll miss Alfred Payton a lot. He was a good ball handler, a good scorer. I like the point guard who took his place. Keep forgetting his name. He was great as like a backup, but not.
Yeah, he definitely. I think with the Alfred Payton move, the Magic and just with Florida sports in general, they're kind of spur of the moment. And, I mean, they just got rid of their head coach, Frank Vogel.
DJ Augustine. His name's DJ Augustine.
Yeah.
But I like him, but not as a starter.
Frank Vogel, I thought he was a good coach. I think he could have stayed with them a little bit longer. I think he needed to show a little bit more passion.
Correct.
He's supposed to be, a good coach. Right. I always thought he was a decent coach, but he didn't really have any players to produce for him.
They have decent players: Aaron Gordon, Hazonia, Biyombo.
No, yeah,
like I said, Augustine, Mack off the bench. They got a decent team. They just need to learn to play together.
I would like to see Hazonia more. I think because in that. A rookie sophomore game or whatever they call it now, Future Stars. I think he dropped 40 points or something.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah, and I think he could do that on a more consistent basis if he was confident that, hey, I'm going to come in here every day and get some playing time.
Right. If he had more playing time, absolutely. So I don't know. Towards the end of the season last year, he was basically starting almost every game.
So no on the Magic making the playoffs in the East.
No, but definitely improving. Definitely.
Okay. So with the Magic,
I say maybe 10 games. Maybe give them 35 wins next year.
All right, it's not bad. Why not? Yeah, it's not bad. A little time to produce.
Sorry, go on.
No, you're good.
That's it for Magic.
So we'll skip a little bit ahead here to my favorite team, and this is where it gets a little tricky. Because we're very passionate about the teams we like, and with the Clippers, I've been a fan since day one. Yes, I watched Michael Candy and the Eric Piakowskis, the Lamar Odoms, the Corey Maggettis.
Back in the day.
Yeah, so this is the part of the draft that I don't understand. You have Charlotte drafting at number 11, and the Clippers drafting at 12 and 13, and for some reason they swap picks. And the Clippers end up giving them 2 more draft picks.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Do you have
Which, for me, doesn't make sense. If you're going to draft the guy you want, just draft the guy you want.
Correct. Did you read anything on that? Why'd they do it?
They must have really wanted this guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who,
he's the point guard out of
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
He's out of Kentucky by way of Canada. The dude, we watch a lot of college basketball, like I said. More specifically the SEC.
Right.
And, just by them drafting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 11 and swapping picks with the Hornets, I don't get it.
And
I just don't get it.
Crazy stat, you can tell everybody, with that pick, how many point guards is that in total for the Clippers as of now?
Well, so, yeah, we'll reveal the next pick, which they draft at 13.
Oh, okay.
Which was
I'm ahead of myself. Sorry.
Well, yeah, which was Jerome Robinson out of Boston College. Who I'm going to be honest, I don't really know too much about him. He almost broke Troy Bell's scoring record at Boston College. Which I remember Troy Bell. He was nasty, but with that pick, as you were referring to, that brings the Clippers roster to 10 guards, 6 forwards, and 2 centers. Now, with the 10 guards, that includes a list of Patrick Beverley, possibly Avery Bradley, Lou Williams, Austin Rivers, Milos Teodosic. I mean, these are all decent guards, and you know somebody's going to want out. You know somebody's going to get fed up. Not all of them are going to get to play. They're going to have injuries. And then with the 6 forwards, I mean, Gallinari, Montrezl Harrell, I mean, you need a bigger roster.
Right.
10 guards isn't going to win you games.
Right. So with this, do you think they're probably going to, like, get rid of a decent amount of guards, I guess?
Well, they got to move somebody
they don't need them all,
because now I just read something like right before we started this that DeAndre Jordan really wants to go to the Rockets.
Yeah.
So now they lose DeAndre Jordan. I mean, it makes sense for him. He's about to turn 30.
Mm-hmm.
Played at Texas A&M. You know, he's all about the H-Town. I mean, for him...
He almost left before. He had to be persuaded back.
Exactly. So now, let's say they lose DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
Who the hell are they going to have? Who's going to score for them?
Exactly.
Lou Williams can't score 50 points a game every time.
No height.
And then Boban, I mean, I love the guy.
Boban, that's it. I guess he's going to start, yeah.
You know, but they're in a real, like, crapshoot here because... All because Doc Rivers didn't want to trade Austin Rivers last year in the Carmelo Anthony fiasco with Chris Paul.
Right.
Now the team's exploded. It's blown up. Blake's gone. Chris Paul's gone. And you think Shai Gilgeous and Jerome Robinson are the answer?
No.
You had 2 lottery picks back-to-back.
That too, yeah. They had back-to-back.
You can't go wrong, and somehow they went wrong. Not to mention they drafted Miles Bridges with the 13th pick.
Yeah.
Who they swapped for Shai Gilgeous, who I thought was the best Michigan State player in the draft.
Correct, yeah.
So
that's incredible.
Last year, they ended the year 42-40. Not to mention they were 42-36 with a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
They end up losing 4 in a row, I believe, giving up. And it's pretty much become the Los Angeles Rivers Clippers, in a way. Because it's... I mean, as a fan, you got to... As a Clippers fan especially, you're used to them losing. It was nice to have Chris Paul, but it just seems it's just a franchise that'll never outshine the Lakers, and it sucks. You know, as a fan, it sucks. And I honestly don't know what they're doing. So I'm just going to go back to the old days where hopefully they just play well and throw alley-oops all game like they used to.
Do you think they're rebuilding as of now, I guess? Almost like rebuilding mode?
I mean, what are they rebuilding? They're getting rid of the pieces they need to rebuild.
Yeah, I'm saying like starting young, I guess.
I mean, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jerome Robinson the pieces?
I don't think so.
Not
Maybe
to mention...
something they know, you don't know. You know?
Maybe. But they skipped over Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was a lot of guys they could have got at 12 and 13.
Right.
And then you gave up 2 picks.
You're right. Sounds ridiculous.
For one pick ahead of you? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But anyway, as you can see, we're passionate. I'm a huge Clippers fan, even though they suck. Believe me. Tweet me if you want. Like, tell me how bad they suck. I know already. But it was nice. The few years they made the playoffs.
Where can we tweet you?
Yeah, so if you've been a fan of the podcast, you've been listening, real quick, they could find me at Mac10Gator. So that's at MAK10GATOR. All one big word. And you could tweet me what you think of the Clippers, what you thought of the draft. And if you want to talk to Jamie about the Magic, you can find him at...
It's at Jammy 24/7. Jammy, Jammy 247.
Not Jammy C.
Excuse me, Jammy C. Wow. Jammy C 247. Sorry.
One more time. The
One
real
more time.
one.
Jammy, the real one. JAMMYC 24/7.
All right. So those are our Twitter handles. If you want, add us. Send whatever you want. We want to interact with you guys.
Or on the podcast, the All in All podcast.
Or you can tweet the podcast, which is at All in All Podcast, one big word. And let us know what you guys have been thinking so far and some topics to talk about. So, we'll end on that note for the Clippers and the NBA draft.
Yep.
And a little bit about the Magic. I really just hope the Clippers do well. I hope the Magic do well, so we could go to a lot more games than we go to now. It'd be nice to go to a playoff game.
That too.
Hopefully over the next few years, but
winning team maybe.
Yeah, but we'll see. So staying with some major sports here, we're going to jump from the NBA to the NFL. Even though it's June, it's right around the corner. It's going to start picking up. Training camp's going to be in full swing in a month or so. Then you're going to have the Hall of Fame game, and we're going to be there, people. The NFL is starting. So with the NFL, we're just going to cover our favorite teams right now to give you a little background on us. So before we start, Jemmy, why don't you start with your favorite team and maybe how'd you start to like them?
Yep, my favorite team is the Green Bay Packers. I've been a fan since I was in high school. Brett Favre was out there throwing the football, slinging it, touchdowns and interceptions every other throw. But that's when I started. Yeah, and a couple Super Bowls, a couple MVPs. But a friend of mine got me into football. I really wasn't into football at all. I was just watching baseball. That was about it. And then my friend got me into it. He said, and then he was from Kenosha, Wisconsin, and a little town over there, and he loved the Packers, and he got me to watch them, and I loved them ever since. With Rodgers, or excuse me, with Favre, and then Rodgers coming over and that whole debacle, and then finally winning a Super Bowl was great. Well, I saw it when Favre won, but yeah, and then Rodgers to finally to live up to his expectations behind Favre
finally, right?
Winning one, yeah, which is fine.
Also helps that you like cheese, right?
It also helps, yeah. Really not supposed to with my my what do you call it? I'm not allergic, but yeah, it doesn't help the nose much.
Oh yeah, a lot of cheese.
But yeah, so anyways.
But yeah, so
I'm a cheesehead.
Yeah, so Jemmy is definitely a cheesehead. Maybe Jemmy, aka Cobra Cheesehead or something.
Maybe a Cobra Cheesehead. That's interesting. There you go. That's new.
Again, if you want to talk to Jemmy about the Packers, tweet him or the podcast, and we'll give you the podium, so to speak. And why don't you tell us about the Packers this year and some expectations?
Okay. Well, I'll start with last year. The Packers finished at 7-9, just missing the playoffs. Thank you to Carolina, but
yeah,
they beat us in that game we had to win. But we finished third in the NFC North. We started out 4-1.
Yeah, it was a good start.
Until Rodgers goes down in Game 6 against Minnesota, and then we go on to lose 8 out of our 11 remaining games. Backup Hundley, Brett Hundley had to take over, and I wasn't a big fan of him.
I'm going to be honest. I thought he was going to do better.
I thought he was going to do better than he did too, but it was sad.
Yeah,
and then good. Our loss to the Lions in Week 17 gave us our first losing season since 2008. So this season, hopefully, we'll beat that. We'll improve from our 10-6 start from 2016, and definitely improve from our 7-9 finish last year. I'm happy. Rodgers is back and healthy. We traded Demarius Randall, our cornerback, for Deshaun Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser had, I think, the most interceptions last year, which is kind of crazy, but hopefully with Rodgers and Green Bay staff, they'll help him, and he's not going to throw as much if needed, big if, because I don't want Rodgers to go down again. But if needed, hopefully he'll be the starting quarterback behind Rodgers. He'll be the backup. Sorry, Hundley. And our new additions for this Green Bay Packers.
They had a really busy offseason.
Really
so far.
busy, yes.
Some big moves. Some of your favorites.
Well, actually, our first release was Jordy Nelson. I was really saddened to hear that. I was a huge Jordy Nelson fan. He did awesome with us, but I guess the money thing and try to get some new talent. And I guess I wasn't sure. I think I read somewhere like he didn't want what they were giving them, so they just released him.
It might have been too much a hassle to keep him. Maybe.
To keep him, yeah. I think something like that. Where it's
I mean,
like the
even
money
though
situation.
he's
been there.
Yeah,
he knows Rodgers. I mean,
exactly.
Rodgers was not happy when he heard that, and I guarantee, that he was,
And Rodgers, he doesn't want
fact.
to waste any more time like trying to get on the same page as somebody.
True.
With Jordy, he was definitely on the same
was on
page
the same-
90% of the time.
Exactly.
And
Right.
I don't know, I think that was sort of a big loss. But
It was.
they replaced him with good players.
Yeah. We got Jimmy Graham, who became a free agent.
That was a big
Tight
pickup.
end was a huge pickup. He's one of those. He can also play wide receiver. You can put him in.
technically.
You can put him in the slot. You can put him anywhere. Basically, he's tall, got great hands. He's like a center. He's like Mamba. He's gonna just throw it up there. He'll catch it. Yeah. Just have him, do a fade route and he'll catch it in the end zone. He's gonna help us tremendously in goal line situations.
Yeah, which they need for sure.
Yeah. And then we also picked up another tight end. They always like to do that. I don't know why.
Drop two, pick up two.
Yeah, pretty much. Or just, Mercedes Lewis, who's been in the league for a while, but is very, very good. He's better at blocking than Graham, but he can also catch here and there. And he's been in the league for a while, so he's a good veteran. I think that was a great pickup for him.
I like him a lot. I've had him on a couple fantasy teams.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty consistent, I'd say.
Yeah.
He was on Jacksonville this whole time.
Yeah, so he's been with one team, and coming over here, another
Going from Jacksonville to Aaron
another
Rodgers.
guy. Another guy Aaron Rodgers can throw. Another tight end.
But yeah, he's definitely
We'll
a good compliment to Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, we also signed Muhammad Wilkerson that was on the Jets. He's going to help our D line tremendously. We needed that help. And then we also picked up we should say Tremont Williams, who was on Cleveland, I believe it was the last team. But before that, he was on the Packers, so he knows the organization,
Familiar.
and everything. Yeah, so hopefully he'll help us. He was awesome, especially when we made our Super Bowl runs. Also want to speak about is also our new defensive coordinator, Mike Pettin. Excuse me, did I butcher that?
I have no idea. I don't even know the guy.
Yeah, he's our new defensive coordinator, taking over for.
Now the defense has been a problem. I mean, I've obviously watched the Packers because of you, but I've noticed their defense the past couple of years has been absolutely dog shit.
It's been right. It's always been pretty bad. I mean,
pretty spotty.
Right.
A lot of big plays.
Defensive coordinator, our old one was Dom Capers. Excuse me, and he was there for a while. I liked him, but I don't know. Something was not clicking with them, the defensive players. Maybe now with the new defensive coordinator, we'll have better schemes and such. But we always that was always our question mark was our defense.
The secondary.
Our secondary, yeah. In particular, our cornerback. So hopefully Tremont comes back and helps. We got first round pick Jair Alexander, cornerback out of Louisville. That was our first pick.
He's good.
He's really
He's
good,
help.
very tall. Yeah. We also got Josh Jackson, cornerback out of Iowa, who's really good. Last year we had Kevin King. This will be his second year. Yep, out of Washington. He was great, tall, not super fast, but he was good. He could tackle you, and he can he can
plays hard.
Defend.
He
Yeah.
work,
The only thing with him was he was injured again, like most of the season. So hopefully he's back and healthy, and he can help us out for a long run. Hopefully our defense will improve, because that was, like I said, was our question mark. So we'll see. We'll have Clay Matthews coming back, Blake Martinez, who had an awesome year with a lot of tackles. We'll have better schemes, and hopefully we can pressure the quarterback and do good. And then of course can't forget our all-star Clinton Dix, who's been insanely good.
Hopefully they can lock him up for a few years, because
yes,
he's the one bright spot right now.
Exactly, like the year before when we got rid of Micah Hyde, I was really pissed about that, because he was awesome, Micah Hyde, and which they plugged in cornerback when needed, safety when needed, anywhere.
He made a lot of big plays.
Exactly. But going back to the offense for Rodgers, he will be fine. We drafted last year, we drafted a lot of wide receivers, which would help, because the loss of Jordy would put a question mark in our third wide receiver spot, with one, of course, going to Devontae Adams and two going to Randall Cobb. Three is kind of open. I mean, the guy that's slightly ahead is Geronimo Allison, who was like a huge out of nowhere help with Rodgers. The year before, but like he played well last year when needed. But he could be their third guy. Plus, they got a lot out of the draft this year with
I forgot the dude's name. The receiver they drafted is like
they got a bunch of receivers.
High on him.
Yeah.
They have with the NFC North now. Like this is a little.
Equanimus, St. Brown, Jamon Moore, Marcus Valdez Scantling. So 3 guys there. I believe the Equanimus St. Brown, is he from the Notre Dame?
I think so. Yeah. You can double check on it, but
which are all good and all could like be that third guy.
So they in a sense have they're like the Clippers, where they have way too many guards. They got a lot of receivers who they're hoping one could step up at least and fill in that little bit of a void, because with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be looking for Jimmy Graham when it comes down to the red zone. The screenplays are going to go to Cobb. So I think all in all, they should be able to put the pieces together. And like you said, when they were 4-1, they were hot. Right. And then he goes down. Was it Monday night game, Sunday night game, or something?
It was a Sunday game. Rodgers went down.
Collarbone. So I mean, that's like a freak thing, and they're always right there in the playoffs every year.
Right.
They're just missing. There's 1 or 2 pieces, and I think the secondary again was a big part of it. We talk about the Panthers and the Packers all the time because they've been playing recently over the past few years, and it's always like 35-31 or like 40-30. It's always like some crazy game. But
they got Jamon Moore out of Missouri, wide receiver out of Missouri. Hopefully he'll help. Maybe be that next guy out, which I really like. And then, of course, they got other picks. Marquise Valdez Scantling. These guys got millions of names. He's out of South Florida. Yeah. He's good. He's tall. He's 6'5".
That's good.
He can. Yeah. He's got a decent speed.
Those Hail Marys.
Equanimus St. Brown, who I guess they were saying was a steal out of the draft.
Well, I just heard the minute
Yeah.
they drafted him, I mean, they couldn't stop talking about it. Even after the draft, they were. I believe he's got 3 brothers and sisters,
something
like that,
Yeah.
and he's from his. I believe his mother sent him to like France or something to learn French better.
Yeah.
He's like trilingual. I think he had like a 4.0 or something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's just like a laundry list of like
He ran
achievements
an
this guy
impressive
did.
4.48
So yeah,
the
4.4
40.
speed.
at the combine.
I mean, you know, that's
Yeah,
everything
they're
you
saying
want.
He slipped to the 6th round, so yeah. Hopefully it works. I mean, like Devontae Adams wasn't a first-round pick, so we'll see. And like I said, we got Geronimo Allison, so that'll help. But to our running back situation, we had
It's kind of weird.
time on right. We almost got like, it's like a committee kind of deal, and we had Ty Montgomery who had most of like the first. He was the guy getting the reps.
Is that the
But
guy
then-
who they're like they can't figure out if he's a tight end or
that's the
whatever?
guy that he was a wide receiver and they converted him to tight end. Excuse me, to running back, and he was awesome doing it. And
Yeah, he
they
was
kept
very
him
good.
there. Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, he's back. He was injured, and then they used Jamal Williams last year and Aaron Jones, 2 guys that they had from the draft. So we'll see. I mean, hey, you never know. Going in, it could be Ty Montgomery's job, and then starting the season, it could be Aaron Jones' job or Jamal Williams' job. You never know, but
Yeah, they don't
they
have
might
like a
just
set-
right, or they just might just do committee again. We'll see. I know that like what I enjoyed last year was like with the hot hand, because like Jamal Williams at one time was running 100 yards, and then he went down, and then Aaron Jones like ran 100 yards the next game. It was crazy, but it was. I mean, they're all very talented and good. So I'm not really worried about the running back situation, or anything in the offense, because
they just need a running back that's like a sure like 3rd and 2 guy that they could hand the ball to.
well,
Because
yeah,
if they don't have a running back, like they know there's no threat in these little play action rinky dink 2-yard passes. I mean,
Right.
you've seen some of the times the running
Correct.
back drops them, the tight
Right.
ends drop them.
right.
And
So I want to
Rodgers
see
gets
how
pissed.
I want to see how that comes out, or like who they're going to use. So, and like if they're going to have somebody for first down, second down, third.
I think they'll have like a fun playbook. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I think they'll have cool situation like a 3rd and 3 where they might run a play action thing where you could do that like that oh shit screen where Jimmy Graham comes across.
Right. But now, now with Jimmy Graham on the team, we got a lot out there where, like you just said, we can do a lot of halfback fakes or whatever, and like just throw open to him, or
Yeah.
vice versa. And with Mercedes, he's gonna help, block, and we'll be an extra blocker out there too. Or
Yeah, they got a
he'll
good
be out
roster.
there.
I
We got a
think.
decent roster, yeah.
So
So I'm excited.
Assuming everybody is healthy, NFC North, based on what the Lions are starting to come together. They've picked up a lot of good guys again.
Right.
Obviously, Jared Davis from Florida last year was huge for them. Tease Tabor
True.
from Florida also.
helped out their defense tremendously.
How do you think they look in the NFC North?
I think they'll take
It was a
it.
close race, even with Rodgers gone last year.
Yeah, I think they'll take it. Like you said, if they're healthy, they'll be fine. I think they'll take it. If healthy, you never know if Kaiser's the backup or Huntley's the backup. We'll see what happens. We'll see who starts. Like I said, with the running backs and the wide receiver situation, and I think it'll be fine either way. Because even with the wide receiver situation, Rodgers can throw to anybody and make them
true.
look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
And especially, like I said, with Jimmy Graham, you can kind of do a lot of things with him. Especially since he's tall, he's a big guy, he runs well. He can be wide receiver if needed. That's why I like he can plug him anywhere.
With the addition of Jimmy Graham, is that enough to get back to the Super Bowl
I think so.
and come out of the NFC?
I mean, I think so. Because when we were winning and when we even got to the Super Bowl, we had no running whatsoever. So even with a little bit of like any running support, we're fine. And I think we could have made the playoffs and done a lot if not for the injuries. last
absolutely.
year. But yeah, I mean, if our defense could play well for us, just help us not give up. Not give up so many points where Rodgers has to always be coming back or have to throw 100 passes just to,
Hail Marys at the end of
exactly
games.
just for us to win games, let alone take a lead. So
well, hopefully your predictions aren't all correct, because my favorite team is also in the NFC. As you know, Carolina Panthers. I'm a big fan. I'll try not to talk too much about them. Basically, I was a young kid, and they had this expansion team. I liked the colors. They had a quarterback named Kerry Collins, and they had a running back with a crazy name, Timbiaka Batuka. Thought that was funny, and next thing you know, I'm a Panthers fan. So that's pretty much how I became a Panthers fan. One of my favorite players of all time is Julius Peppers. I actually liked him playing college basketball at North Carolina, and I didn't even know he played football. And if you know me, I've loved him ever since. I always get him in my Madden franchises. I always play with him, whether he's left end or right end, on the defensive side of the ball. And yeah, so just talk briefly about the Panthers. They're, in a way, they go how Cam goes. They're bipolar. One year they're 11-5. The next year they're 6-10, 7-9. One year they make the Super Bowl. The next year they don't even make the playoffs. So just to recap, last year real quick, they were 11-5, made the playoffs, had to win the last couple of games to get in. They lost to the Saints, and if I remember correctly, at the end of the game, Cam had a couple times to take the lead, and just I think his immaturity kicked in. Sometimes in those big playoff games, he just doesn't show up. It's sad, but when he does show up, he's amazing. As you can see, he does a super cam. But yeah, so the Panthers start off their offseason. They released Jonathan Stewart, which I don't even understand why. He was their all-time leading rusher, the one consistent Carolina has had in recent memory. Jonathan Stewart, great running back. Not the fastest guy, but he racked up the yards, picked him up in fantasy any chance I could. Was a consistent and good
right?
professional football player.
I had him 1 year, not bad.
Especially in a league where the average length or lifespan for running backs is like 3 years, if that. So they release him, which, whatever you want to say, leaves it open for Christian McCaffrey, who maybe he'll get some more touches. He's got a year under his belt. I think he's going to be a great wing flex player. I don't know if he's going to be able to run 30 times like Jonathan Stewart did, but he will produce, whether it's on special teams or in the slot. He definitely showed potential and exactly what they wanted when they drafted him. So yeah, Jonathan Stewart's now on the Giants, who, that's a whole nother story. Being from New York, kind of root for the Giants a little bit, but I don't like seeing him on the Giants. He should have stayed with the Panthers, even if he's going into the last leg of his career, sort of finish it out. I didn't want him to be disrespected, where I felt like Steve Smith was they let him go. He didn't really finish his career in Carolina, I guess the way he wanted to. But speaking of Steve Smith and the Panthers draft, their wide receiver core has kind of been, like you said with the Packers, wide receiver by committee. Any guy they could get, they just throw in there. And then you got these guys like Bird stepping up. Funches has been kind of consistent, but he's always injured. And then with Kelvin Benjamin, I mean, you get a 6'5", 6'6" guy from Florida State who, for some reason, just didn't want to show up for the Panthers. And I never understood that. Got injured every 3 games. Dropped a lot of balls.
Are you guys going to miss Watkins?
I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, a little bit. But, I mean, with the draft, so I won't talk about every pick they had. I just want to cover the two round 1 and round 2. So Steve Smith was very high in their first round pick. DJ Moore, they got him with the 24th pick. He's out of Maryland. Steve Smith said he's literally, this is the first time that the Panthers might be able to replace him at the wide receiver position, because up until now they haven't been able to replace Steve Smith, which I agree strongly about. Cam Newton, kind of prima donna, says he has no weapons. In a way, you can compare it to LeBron James, where he's a good player, but he's complaining because he can't have a wingman or a go-to guy to really, in the big situations, to be clutch for him. But this guy, DJ Moore, I liked him. He's out of Maryland. He's a Steve Smith type in a way, which hopefully translates into the NFL game on the higher level. It's going to be, the game's quicker, the game's stronger, the game's faster, and hopefully he could adjust. With that, in the second round, they picked up Dante Jackson, cornerback at LSU. We watched SEC football. We're down here in Florida. So we saw Dante Jackson in a few games. He's okay. I like him. I don't think he's like a stud. I don't think he's going to be an impact player right away, but I think he's a solid guy to step in and fill a role that he needs to fill, in a sense. And just with everything with the Panthers, I mean, obviously it's early. I hope they do well. I hope they make the playoffs, obviously, every year. But I just wish I would see Cam Newton just be a little bit more mature about the way he goes about football.
Right.
I mean, he had an instant with a female reporter where she asked him about a play, and he was like, "How do you even know about that play? Females shouldn't be studying routes." It's just, he's hot and cold, man. He's bipolar, he's schizophrenic, whatever you want to call him. But at the end of the day, he does play. He does score a lot. He's a big dude. He could rush. He could break out a 70-yard run. He could throw a 70-yard bomb. Sometimes his balls are a little off target, but I think he makes up for it.
Right.
His problem is when the wheels fall off, it snowballs, and then he becomes a baby, which, again, not the best thing to do when you're the star of the team, but we'll see. The Panthers just sold their team. They got a new owner, so hopefully, I don't know, the new management, good vibes, new energy, new system, and yeah, that's pretty much what I hope they do. I hope they make a deep playoff run. Hopefully, Panthers-Packers maybe in the NFC Championship would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I think about the Panthers. They got a tough division. Last year was really close. 3 good teams. Saints are 11-5, I believe. Panthers 11-5. Falcons. One thing that Dante Jackson can help with is if you watch the Panthers-Falcons game, every year Julio Jones makes an 80-yard touchdown catch on the Panthers. Luckily, in the last game of the season when they needed it, Julio Jones dropped it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about the Panthers. And I think that covers our NFL stuff. So yeah, if you have any comments about the Packers or Panthers, hit us up on Twitter, hit up the podcast at All in All Podcast, one word.
Yes.
And we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the video game world, and we're just gonna kind of wing it because recently there's been some talks that GameStop is looking to sell and looking for a buyer.
Yeah,
now
interesting what happens with it.
Yeah, so
Maybe a new name.
As gamers, Jemmy, what's your first reaction to if GameStop goes out of business? What are you gonna do?
I mean, then it goes back to I don't know, getting it digital or going other places such as
Walmart,
Best Buy, exactly.
Do you think
any of those stores, Target?
Now, we've played video games since day one, the Ataris, N64, Segas, all that stuff. Collecting games has become a lost art.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's dying fast. GameStop going out of business, does that help or hurt that? Does that affect it at all? Or
a lot of people would just just get their games from GameStop. I think it'll be more digital buying. I think after that, no more shoe boxes full of Nintendo cartridges like I had,
which was fun.
Or of Sega Genesis or anything like that. But I think it'll be more digital games being bought digital, which is fine too. But if you don't want to, have that extra, box or whatever, DVD box or box, whatever. And I mean, some people, I don't know, I prefer it, but I don't mind buying games digital too. Even some are on sale, I'd just buy them, digital on the, I have PlayStation, so on the PlayStation. But I don't think it'll be a lot less people having, collections of, video games.
Yeah, because one thing, when I had the PS2, I remember I had a huge collection of games.
Yeah.
It was like, a whole wall full of stuff. And somewhere in the middle, from the PS2 to the PS3 or whatever it was, Xbox to Xbox One, or Xbox to Xbox 360 rather, the digital world came out like real fast. And I'm not gonna lie, like in today's world, even though we literally live across the street from a GameStop, where it's not even a half of a quarter of a mile to go get a game,
exactly,
we could walk across the street. I still rather just buy it digitally.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of people.
Because even if I go get the game across the street,
right,
if it's a game where I could beat in a week, I'm going to be inclined to go back there and sell it back.
Well, that's another thing too. I mean, a lot of people like the GameStop store because they can do stuff like that where, like, at least if they can beat the game quickly, they can bring it back and for whatever, and exchange it for another game or put it towards another game or anything like that, or put it towards cash or whatever, or in general, like your old games or whatever, you can put it towards getting other games, maybe save in a sense, and if you need a controller or anything, GameStop's right there, and every time you buy stuff, of course, you get points and all. So, I mean, that helps a lot, too.
Now, if GameStop does sort of go down, is it going to be something that you think they'll try to revamp and just get rid of the GameStop name and make it like a superstore or something? It could be,
it could. Well, since, I mean, GameStop is... It's still good. I mean, it's still up there. I mean, business-wise, I think they might revamp it, put another name. I mean, this is the third time they're changing the names. There's been like other names.
EB Games, EB World.
Games, exactly. Yeah. So, for them to do that, I wouldn't be surprised. But, hey, if they think, if they're going to get more, more people going to it, if they change the name and revamp it up, sure.
I just think it's like we're in a stage in the universe where it's said that the age we're at, where we grew up with a lot of things like Toys R Us,
right, which is going out of business also.
Going out of business. I mean, we grew up in a sort of materialistic, like Pokemon cards, all that stuff. You got to get you got to get the hot new thing.
You ever heard of Pogs?
Yeah, I remember Pogs, yeah.
That's really back in the day.
And
Pokemon cards.
And now it's a world where those things are vanishing like very fast.
Yo-yos, but that's another...
Jesus, yo-yos.
Sorry, I'm a little old.
But these things where, we still buy Pops and stuff and action figures and
Pops,
wrestlers and stuff.
Yeah, I'm into that, yeah. Wrestlers, action figures. Stuff like that.
But why is it dying so? I don't understand it. Why is it dying so fast?
It's just a different state we're in right now, and it's just like, it's almost like a different, like when I was growing up, a lot of, the people before me were not, playing with G.I. Joes and playing with, like I had He-Man action figures.
Yeah.
I had, Batman figures, stuff like that, and they weren't playing with like action figures and stuff. They had their own, their own things. Even actually, G.I. Joe's was before me, and I kind of got to the end of that. But
because what's happening,
stuff like that, yeah.
Because what's happening is, I think, I've argued with my parents a bunch. I've argued with girlfriends. why do you need that toy? Why do you need whatever? It's because sometimes when you're having a bad day and you walk into your room and, hey, there's an action figure of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Or whoever.
It might change your whole perspective on...
It's true.
It brings a different energy. It motivates you.
Yeah. Not to mention, like I had baseball cards, different sports cards back in the day.
That to me, that's
wrestling and stuff.
The baseball card. I mean,
I had that.
Yeah, just the cards in general, really. I mean, I think Magic's still a thing, right? It's still going strong.
Magic the Gathering, you mean? Oh yes.
Like Dungeons and Dragons still going strong.
I think they are. A lot of board games, and then we've been playing Stratego.
Yeah, shout out to Stratego. Shoots and ladders. What? But the reason why we bought this recently is because of stuff like that. Because it's a dying art form, and once in a while we'll sit down and play Stratego just to feel balanced and keep our childhood, so to speak.
Balance in the force,
because I don't know. It's obviously turn into your parents and you understand them when you're older, where they go, oh well, back in my day.
Well, now I do.
But I just feel like the turnaround from that is...
I don't want to.
Exactly. The turnaround from that happened way quicker than the turnaround from us to our parents.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like just yesterday I was playing with, like, wrestling figures in my room with, like, Street Sharks and, Ninja Turtles.
Okay, Ninja Turtles.
And stuff like that.
Batman the Animated Series?
Now it's literally disappearing like Avengers Infinity War.
Ooh, spoiler alert. Too soon, Mike. Too soon.
Too soon?
Just kidding. They've had like a couple months.
I'm sure if you get mad you haven't seen the movie, deal with it.
Apologize.
Yeah, whatever.
Look it
Google it.
Read a book. Sorry.
But so just, to get back to the video game thing, I mean, I have a PlayStation right now close by that we're recording this to, where there's probably 15 to 20 digital games on there.
Yeah.
And compare that to maybe back in the day where the time frame I bought those 15 to 20 games might have been 30 or 40 physical copies that I had.
It's true.
And say what you want, you could get it right from your house, but now it almost ruins it because you got people paying $50 early to play Madden 3 days early or whatever.
That's true.
Or here, let me give $100 for the
that's another
deluxe
GameStop
edition.
That's another thing about GameStop is you can do stuff like that where you can play, Madden 3 days earlier or whatever, NBA 2K 3 days earlier before it comes out. That the store is not doing that. You might need an an EA account.
And plus, if GameStop goes out of business, I mean, you could probably pre-order the collector's edition. I mean, I don't buy the collector's edition for everything.
For say, yeah.
But there are games like Mortal Kombat. I want the collector's edition.
Right, if it's worth it. Maybe like a steelbook or having like a different statue or something.
Yeah.
Which GameStop did a lot, which was fine. But
which I enjoy. A
lot of people will miss that.
The midnight releases. We've gone to the Madden thing a couple of times.
That's
where
right.
we play in the Madden tournaments over here.
They had a tournament. You told me about that. I came later, but stuff like that. Yeah, they got things set up. They're always trying to be be active.
It's dying fast, and honestly, it sucks. It's sad, and things like we talked about on our other podcast with Kenny Omega and the New Day and stuff.
Yeah.
Those tournaments aren't going to be happening at GameStops or your local, because now I got to go to Target to get a video game.
Walmart.
Now I got to go to Walmart
if you want to get a physical copy.
Yeah. I mean, Best Buy and Amazon.
Might not even be the case, because if you buy a physical copy, what are you gonna? You're not gonna trade it in or anything. It's just gonna sit there if you're not playing it. At least if you have digital, I guess you don't have to bother with the access stuff, and you don't have to go out.
Well, again, I'm obviously we're not hoarders, but I mean, if for me personally, if I collect, let's say, Final Fantasy 1, I want to collect Final Fantasy 1 through, whatever the number they end on.
I'm sure I got into that.
They're probably up to like 19 or something.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're a Final Fantasy fan out there.
Yeah.
But even Assassin's Creed games, they're on their, they're going strong, and to have all those physical copies and those physical statues and those collector's editions.
Oh yeah, I mean it's tremendous.
Because we might be jumping the gun here and saying that the gaming world is going to die essentially, but it's not. We're just saying that the good karma and the sort of the rush and the high you get from going to the midnight release to get your collector's edition, or waking up in the morning and hitting up your buddy to go get the new Kingdom Hearts that it's coming out or something,
Right.
And the Nintendo Switch is good, and they have the little app store, so to speak, on there where you can buy the games digitally. But
True.
To me, I'm old school where I want to walk into the store. I don't want to wait in line, but I'd like to have 2 or 3 people ahead of me buying the same game I am.
Right, be able to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, we've met people at those things, trade gamer tags and PSNs,
right,
and
we got to play.
And I just think I don't know. I just think unless like a big company buys up GameStop and changes it into something, for the future, it'll just really suck, man. It'll really suck.
Exactly. I agree. Like a lost art.
Yeah, and you say they're materialistic things and whatever, but I mean, I'm into that stuff. I know you're into that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
We like collecting stuff. That's all.
Yep.
But yeah. So I think we'll end on that for this edition of the podcast.
Let us know what you think about GameStop and possible buyout and all. If you want to let us know, you know where to get us. Or if you want to talk video games in general, or if you're looking forward to new games coming out, maybe you're getting it digital or not, let us know.
Yeah, let us know why you choose digital over the physical copy, or vice versa.
Yeah, or something, a good topic or whatever. Maybe we'll put that up as a topic or at the vote on our
Twitter page. Yeah,
so keep an eye out for that. All in All Podcast. That's the name, right? All in All Podcast at Twitter.
Yeah. So the Twitter handle is All in All Podcast. One word. Once again. What we'll do here, since we were just talking about gaming, we'll give you our PSN gamer tags. We have PlayStation 4. If you want to play with me, I am at Mac10Gator. So for PSN, it would just be Mac10Gator. For Twitter, it's at Mac10Gator, MAK10GATOR. We do have something in the works. Hint, hint, it might be Twitch related. Just so you guys know, this podcast, everything we do here, we're going to get better equipment. Everything's up in the works. If you ever started something, it's a slow process, but we're doing this, man. We want you to come along for the ride. And whatever this turns into, we're not going to stop right now. We're going to take this to wherever it goes, and we're going to cover all topics. So if you want to
play with me on my PSN, sorry, this is Jamie. It's JFC 27.
Nice and simple.
Nice and simple. On my PSN, JFC 27.
And your Twitter once again.
And my Twitter once again, the right one.
Yeah,
it's Jamie 24/7. Excuse me, Jamie C.
Jesus, man.
My goodness gracious.
Doesn't he? This guy doesn't know his own Twitter handle.
That is correct. Sorry.
The correct Twitter handle
Jamie
is
C 24/7. That's how you spell it. JMMY C 24/7.
Okay, so in English, that's JAMMY C 247.
Yes.
And PSN is JFC 27.
Yes.
Very confusing, but please send us friend requests. We want to play with you guys. We could do a couple Let's Plays. And like I said, maybe by the next podcast or two, there might be able to game with us also, live on Twitch. So, yeah, we'll end on that. Send us some topic suggestions. What do you think about the NBA, NFL, some video game stuff, GameStop? All in all, I'd say today was a good day.
Today was a good day.
For Mikey Gator.
For Jamie.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.